Hello and a very warm welcome. We're at the Wuhan Sports Gymnasium Center in central China in the province of Hubei. It's day 2 of the 2012 Dongfeng Citroën BWF Thomas Cup. And we're looking forward to a Group A clash between Indonesia and England. Good atmosphere inside the Wuhan Sports Center ahead of this Thomas Cup match. The Thomas Cup, the world's biggest, the most prestigious team event in badminton. And for Indonesia, well, for the men, it's a first outing as they take on England, beaten yesterday by China quite convincingly, 5-0. Of course, the Thomas Cup named after an Englishman, Sir George Allen Thomas, a badminton player of the early 1900s who wanted a Davis Cup in tennis, a World Cup in football, that kind of competition. And so the Thomas and of course the Uber Cup for the ladies has come about. Indonesia against England then is our offering tonight. And this is how the group table looks after that opening match yesterday between China and England. So a must-win match tonight for England, otherwise they say goodbye. For Indonesia, well, they will be favourites tonight against the English, with China obviously favourites to win Group A. Not the greatest draw really for England, coming up against the 2 finalists from 2010 in Kuala Lumpur. This is how they'll line up tonight, starting with the men's singles match between S.Santoso and Rajiv. Then the Olympic champions Kido and Citroën up against Adcock and Ellis, who played pretty well yesterday against the world #1 pair from China, Hu Haifang and Kai Yun. Taufik Hidayat up against Carl Baxter. And then Nathan Robinson, we believe his last match for England alongside Chris Langridge, up against Hassan and Chandra. And then the final of the men's singles, Rebecca against Ben Beckman. I'm Richard Kaufman. Welcome aboard once again, or if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome for the first time. Jill Clark, former England player, multi-medalist, Commonwealth Games, a Uber Cup silver medalist as well alongside me. England yesterday outclassed by China. Would it be more of the same against Indonesia?
No, looking at it on paper, I mean, there's real opportunities for England in this one. I have to say, I thought China looked very, very sharp yesterday, and whilst the English players put up a good fight, you know, you look at this match up against Indonesia, and there's a couple of matches that I sort of think, well, you know, this could go either way. And I have to say, this first one is a possibility. Whilst the world rankings are really quite different between the two men, S.Santoso, his last 2 tournaments, he's lost in the last 32. That's first or second round that he's lost. Now, he's been plagued throughout his career, has S.Santoso, by a back injury. And whilst in India he said that he was beaten fair and square by beating Hus the Dane, just played too well, I suspect there was a little bit of an injury niggle there. So, given the way that R.Ouseph played yesterday against Lindan, I think this could be, there's a possibility here of being a big upset, obviously in England's favour.
Yeah, R.Ouseph played pretty well at times during his 21-14, 21-10 defeat against, well, the crowd favourite, let's put it that way. We could describe it a number of different ways, Lindan. But there was one point in the game he won 7 points in a row, which I wouldn't have thought too many people have done against Lindan. So plenty of confidence he'll take from that. S.Santoso, as would suggest by the world ranking on his day, could be pretty impressive as well.
Absolutely, but he's a very, very different style to Lindan. So these two players on court today are more similar in their style. They're both more laid back in their personalities. And you talk about S.Santoso, well, he's number 9 at the moment. He has been as high as 3. Now that's an indication of his skill level. And, you know, that's something that we will see today, is his racket skill ability. He won't have the same explosive power and speed as we saw yesterday from Lindan, and that will give R.Ouseph more opportunities to get into the rally and play his own style of game.
Well, S.Santoso, 26th, but this is his 5th appearance at the Thomas Cup. 48th cap won tonight for R.Ouseph, the 25-year-old from Hounslow in West London. Currently world number 19, but S.Santoso's been as high as number 3. R.Ouseph has been as high as number 11. And as is so important, Jill, and you played in many of these events, these first matches, whoever's playing in them, they can provide such a platform for the rest of the team.
Absolutely, it sets the tone for the whole tie. If your teammate goes on first, if they perform well, and especially if they win, you really feed off that. You can feel the adrenaline rush. You know, you sort of think all of a sudden there's possibilities. So the way he's performed is not only whether he wins or loses as far as the English team is concerned, it's how he approaches this match that's going to be vital for the rest of the team.
And the way Adcock and Ellis played, who are up next, you fancy they will have a sniff of a chance as well in match 2.
Well, especially as the last time they played against the reigning Olympic champions, former world champions, of course, they beat them. It's 1-1 in their previous head-to-heads. This is more ominous, of course, for R.Ouseph, the fact that he's never beaten S.Santoso. In fact, he's never even won a game. Both of their previous matches played in Korea, and both of them in 2 straight games. So, you know, I think that the men's doubles, as I say, if R.Ouseph plays well, and if he could sneak that victory, then I think the Adcock match in the men's doubles, the second one against the Olympic champions, I think Ellis and Adcock really could do something very special.
Kenneth Jonassen making some notes. The former world number 2, who's now the head coach for Badminton England, ahead of this game. Simon Santoso then first up. Of course, Taufik Hidayat, perhaps the better known amongst the singles players for Indonesia, but happy for the young brigade now to go to the fore. As you mentioned, he's had some early defeats, Santoso. Whittinghouse, you mentioned, the Dane beat him in India. Had to withdraw from the Asian Badminton Championships with an injury. It's going to be an interesting matchup. R.Ouseph, by far and away the best of England's singles players. Won the national championship 5 times in a row.
On my right, England, represented by R.Ouseph. And on my left, Indonesia, represented by S.Santoso. Indonesia to serve, love ball, play.
Well, nobody has won the Thomas Cup more times than Indonesia, 13 times winners. They start as favourites in this match against England, with the English knowing they have to win this tie to progress further in the Thomas Cup. That's the first point going Rajiv Usif's way.
Very good rally for so early on in the contest. Both men finding their range. That's a clever smash from S.Santoso.
2-1.
That's a good indication that his back is not giving him too much trouble in these early stages. Playing that, what we call round the head shot, when playing from deep in the backhand corner, but still playing with the normal overhead action.
by much. But as you say, there seems to be no holding back early on here.
Sabar sih,
Santoso.
ya. Sabar sih. Bola ini buri banget, Bang.
Oh, goodness, that's quick. Well, there's me saying that we didn't see the same sort of speed and explosive power. Just proving me wrong. That was terrific.
A very sprightly start from the Indonesian player. R.Ouseph in comparison looks a little sleepy. But he gives away that kind of air, doesn't he, anyway? R.Ouseph, that languid style he has. See him on his toes a little more. We mentioned yesterday against Lindan, you know, when he did get attacking, he did look a bit of a force.
Yeah, there's no doubt his capabilities, and he's got some wonderful angles from the back of the court, uses his height so well. But as you say, I mean, so often you just love to see a little more urgency in his style of play.
Service over. 3-5.
Completely mistimed that one.
Service
Look up
over.
towards the lights after the rally.
3.
Some here this week that believe Indonesia could be the dark horses, price packages. I mean, how far do you think they can go? Obviously, they've got to put pay to England first, but are they potentially one of the teams that could challenge here?
Oh, most definitely, no question of it. And you were talking about the tradition that they've had in this particular competition. You know, taking the title 13 times, having been in 18 finals. I mean, that is just so superior to any other team. And it's interesting because when you go to Indonesia, everybody talks about the Thomas Cup and the history of the competition and so on. I mean, this is a really, really big deal to them. It's a big deal in world badminton, but even more so, I think, for the Indonesians. And yes, I mean, they've got players that on their day can beat anyone in the world. It's really a question, like S.Santoso, is he 100% fit? If he is, you know, he can challenge the Lindans of this world.
Service over. 6-7.
R.Ouseph getting the luck of the net cord there, not once but twice.
S.Santoso very, very good in the rally. Once he's got the shuttle past his opponent, he really encroaches in on the net. He really stands his ground, looking for the reply, the drop shot back to the net, and that's when he really looks to pounce.
R.Ouseph. Pretty tight to me. Yeah, it was good. Right on the line.
Service over. 7-10.
Yeah, more aggressive from the front of the court in that rally, R.Ouseph. We talked about it yesterday, Richard, about the fact that too often I think R.Ouseph comes from underneath the shuttle at the front of the court. You've really got to come from above the shuttle, and then you've got the options. Yeah, perfect example in that rally. Both times he
11-8. Interval.
approached the drop shot coming from beneath the shuttle, lifting it to the back of the court, giving the attacking opportunity away to his opponent.
Watch that second lift because it becomes slow. Yeah. So here, push a little bit further into the court, cover in particularly around the head, especially from the forehand. He flexes you a lot around the head. So here from the beginning, again, a few big smashes from the beginning just to push him away so that he opens up to the pivot, and it also makes you move a little bit faster. Then keep hustling him around that front there. When you push, then commit to it. Yeah, he can't get it over you. So further into court, a few attacking shots ready on that round ahead. Okay.
11-8, R.Ouseph trails.
Yeah. Isn't that just a perfect example of how he allows the shuttle to come to him rather than making the racket head reach out towards the net as he's playing the net shot? Yeah, no, that's exactly what Coach Jonasson was saying to him. Be committed at the net.
9-11.
Good look at that one, S.Santoso. I think if it was like in tennis and they had referrals, he might be asking for one here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the line.
Oh, so clever. It really is. All his smashes prior to that one have been down the lines, either cross-scored all away from R.Ouseph, and then suddenly the body smash aims towards the right hip. Perfect place. And the outright winner. So clever.
Has always had the edge in this opening game. R.Ouseph sticking with him though.
He's hustling now from the front of the court. Instead of just lifting the shuttle, R.Ouseph is beginning to play some pushes. Not giving S.Santoso the time to get underneath the shuttle.
Service over. 14-12. over. 13, 14.
That's lovely play.
14, all.
What Jonasson was saying to him at the mid-game interval, push Santoso away from the net. So in other words, the first one's got to be a hard push, then you can play the block on the net shot. Yeah, twice in that rally, that's going wide.
And, for the first time,
15,
it's,
14.
very first points of this game, R.Ouseph has a slight advantage. Never won a game before against Simon Santoso. Jill was saying before this match they have met twice before, both in Korea, a year apart. Santoso winning in straight games on both occasions, but 16-14, Ouseff's advantage here now. 4 points in a row. From Santoso, but Ouseff's standing up to him. Brilliant. Not over yet. What a fabulous rally. It's good from Santoso. Big point that was as well. The gap's now 1, it would have been 3.
15,
Spectacular. Sometimes there are turning points here. 260 from Santoso's smash there. Sometimes you look back, don't you, at turning points. I wonder whether that will be one.
play.
Sky, wasn't it?
Oh,
Absolutely marvellous.
Getting ready for the smash and then to try and change direction. Couldn't do so in time. Direction was perfect.
Set himself up so well in the rally as well, with the courage to play a net shot off his opponent's net shot.
Isn't it? That one might have been there for the taking for Rajiv, as if the again goes for the stronger smash. And in the end, his effort on the lift just drifts out.
Yeah, it was almost as if he lost patience and belief in what he was trying to do. You know, because Simon Santoso was getting back his good shots. It was almost as if he just ran out of ideas.
I said I wonder if it was a turning point. Santoso's followed that terrific rally winning point with 2 more. Now leads.
Oh my goodness. Super shot.
18, 17.
It's that flat push I was talking about earlier. Great effect. Such a big point coming up right now. And the courage came from S.Santoso.
19, 18.
Stood his ground at the front of the court, really pressurizing.
Well, if this is the platform for the rest of the night, it should be a
19,
cracking evening's entertainment here in this 2012 BWF Thomas Cup. It's tight. There's been some excellent badminton. And of course, there's a sense of unpredictability about what the outcome might be. Brilliant. That is the point of the night so far. It just makes it look so easy the way he gets back R.Ouseph smashes as well. He just seems to read them so well.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this final smash, he did so well to control it because he'd broken the string of his racket on the previous shot. So for him to control that cross-court, well, I suppose you describe it as a half smash or maybe a fast drop shot.
Brings up game point as well.
Testing out the new racket, very much courtesy amongst the players.
Come on.
Finish it off from S.Santoso.
First game won by Indonesia.
It was an excellent opening game in this matchup between England and Indonesia. S.Santoso producing the goods when required. Two minutes it took to separate them.
Kecepatan dia gagal kan, di siji. Yang kedua, posisinya aja katanya nih, gue munggah sih di saut meneng, enggak. Kecuali kau yakin sih sekali-sekali boleh ini masuk. Tapi ini ada bola mau lepas katanya dulu. kontrol iki kabeh. Saya nek kowe sing nyambung lah. Tadi si bola-bola sih gak ada kalau batasi ini biasa gak apa-apa. Ya cuma ikut tok. Ya.
Very important rally. It could have been 3 points behind. He ended up winning that point. Wondered at the time whether it would be a turning point. It did prove to be the case. And you look at him playing in today's match, you just wonder how he's exited the first round recently. I suppose injuries, as you've mentioned, do play their part. If you're not 100%, then others will take advantage.
Yes, I think there's been so much strength and depth in World Badminton these last few months. There's such intensity with players trying to qualify for the Olympic Games. What's very interesting is that neither player has served high so far in the match.
20 seconds. One, 20 seconds.
The good from those statistics that R.Ouseph is certainly holding his own at the front of the court. Coach Kenneth Jonasson did say to him at the mid-game interval, push him away from the net, and when you go forward, be absolutely committed. And I think those statistics, it would have been interesting to see them at the mid-game interval and see them again at the end, because I think he turned that around. Now, I suspect that defensively, S.Santoso will try and turn the shuttle a little bit more in this second game. If he is being attacked, rather than blocking straight or trying to lift it, I think he's going to try and turn the shuttle a little bit more.
What makes you say that?
I think probably they've noticed that sometimes R.Ouseph is a little bit slow. He's such a tall man, 1.90 meters, that's about 6'3", that twisting and turning for tall players is very, very difficult. You've got to accept that. There we go. He's turned the defence. Well, he's missed with his attacking shot. But, you know, you have to accept that your opponent is going to at times attack you. Of course, a tall opponent is going to do that, but you've got to try and negate the effect of that. And one of the ways of doing it is to actually turn and block cross-court on your own defence.
Just losing his length here a little, isn't he, Santoso? To playing some faultless badminton late in that opening game.
Oh, goodness me, the line judge very, very hesitant to make the call.
It looked into me. That looked like it hit the line.
I thought it was on the line indeed, but the line judge actually indicated out in the end.
You ever see the day where a la tennis there are referral systems in badminton, Jim?
The sooner the better. I don't actually see it happening.
All these big events are televised now, but I suppose you've got 4 courts here and only one of them are being televised.
Well, yes, but you know, in tennis not every single court has Hawkeye working. You know, it's only the show courts. I'm not convinced that badminton is at the stage yet that you need a Hawkeye, which is, I understand, a very expensive equipment to have. What I think the development of badminton should be, I hope in the near future, but something to consider, is video evidence, because we're privileged enough here to see it very, very quickly, and it can be on the giant screens. It could certainly be on the umpire's notepad that they can look at it again. Similar situation to tennis where you can challenge a call, and I think that is something that badminton should give very serious consideration to.
And it would add something, it would involve the crowd a little more in the game. Sometimes eyes can wander across, especially when there's 4 courts going on at once, but if there's a decision like that being made and it involves the crowd a little more, S.Santoso got that call going his way now, has edged in front in this second game. 5-3 leads. First rash shot in a while from R.Ouseph there.
Yeah, I believe it was the right shot to try and attempt. What bothered me about R.Ouseph was his body language immediately afterwards. You know, shoulders down, obviously disappointed in himself. Oh, that one's been called good.
Well, S.Santoso was calling it out. Again, my instinct from the view I had was that it was in. Jill?
Oh, I don't want to be a line judge.
It is a tough job, isn't it?
Oh, and they do very well. They have to make the split-second decisions. I can't tell even looking at the replay.
Yeah, I don't think we should have TV replays. But
7-4.
R.Ouseph has to be very, very careful right now, because you just get the sense that S.Santoso is beginning to stamp his authority on this match. R.Ouseph, if he wants to come back in this, has really got to focus his attention right now. Stop this advantage growing any further. Wide. Ooh, it's come back in. Goodness me.
Yeah, good, different to yesterday. There's certainly a drift in the sports centre here tonight, as there was earlier on in the day. I think they've turned the air conditioning on a little higher than it was yesterday. It was very warm in here. That drift out comfortably.
6-8.
The response looks like it might have come in time from Rajiv.
Yeah, as a player you get to sense what those important points are and where you have to really focus, where you have to really up your game. Of course, we all know when it's very tight in a game at 18 all or something, we all understand that, but there are these early stages where you have to sense that now this is where I have to push for the next 3 or 4 rallies.
There's Nathan Robertson on the left, playing with Chris Langridge today, as they did when they did the Thomas Cup qualifiers. In fact, they got the winning point to make sure that England were here in Wuhan.
9. Over. 10-7.
Disappointment all too obvious once again.
So it's 11-7 lead for S.Santoso heading into the interval, and Indonesia creeping towards their first point in this game with England.
Katakan buri ngono mau nek pukulan langsung kabeh. Kayak langsung sejep iso ngene lah. Padahal itu ono ruang gak ada masalah. Ketok kabeh pukulane kok lah iki siji. Depan barang ngono. Ketek ngopo kena sekan sithik-sithik barang ya. Kowe boleh ngene boleh apa ngene langsung udah. Dadi gak kacau langkah-langkah kabeh. Kono mbek kene juga akan kontrol. Angin ini ambek kono nah. Enggak, kan rada pelan sithik aja ya. Coba sepuluh itu boleh. Sini. Iya. Enggak maksudnya pukul belakangnya ya.
Well, from the coach's body language and gestures there, it looks to me as if he's telling him to use that disguised drop shot once again. Used it to great effect in the opening game.
Ready to restart here,
Play.
and he needs to start clawing back some points quickly here. In control now, isn't he, the Indonesian player?
13-7.
He's just quietly and calmly frustrating his opponent. Wonderful defensive play, good control at the net.
Well, R.Ouseph, when he's smashing, generally they seem to be coming back at him. S.Santoso's able to find the angles to make them winners.
Service over. 8-13.
There's 4 points in a row there. R.Ouseph claws one back. He needs to go on a bit of a run now. There we go. As soon as I said he wasn't finding them,
13.
he goes and finds one. Perfectly placed. Long. More frustration for the Englishman.
14-9.
4号场地将进行尤杯立体第2场比赛。泰国队沙西里马拉塔埃对阵荷兰队萨蒂斯托斯马特。
We will have the second match of Yugo Cup Group B Women's Single. Representing Thailand, Sophie Panatanatai. Representing Netherlands, Patty Dongfeng.
3号场地将进行奥运会第2场比赛。俄罗斯队伊万索托诺对阵新西兰队
That's good judgment.
沃克。
At the moment, there doesn't seem any way back, does there, for Rajiv in this match?
In court 3. Representing Russia, Ivan Sosonov. Representing New Zealand, Michael Porter.
His movement back in court there. Simon Santoso very fluid in his movements.
Yeah, the game is fast slipping away now. What was a tense and excellent first match between these two players is turning into more of a one-sided affair in the second game.
It's a good lift.
Just wide. The situation requires that R.Ouseph tries to find the lines now, the corners, against a very confident opponent, but just hands another point to Santoso. Well, when it was R.Ouseph that needed to go on a run, it's 5 points in a row for Santoso. And that already brings up match points.
20 match point 9.
Well, what a letdown really in terms of the contest. Such a good first game. But all credit to Simon Santoso. It was a pretty faultless performance, wasn't it, from the world number 9? Classy. And just the start that Indonesia wanted. England's hopes now hanging by a thread.
Match won by Indonesia, 21-19, 21-9.
Confirmation there from the umpire Shun Hee-ju. 21-19, 21-9. The victory for Simon Santoso. And, well, you couldn't really get two more contrasting games, really, than the ones we saw there. Tight, nervy, excellent first game. And then, well, the golf just appeared in the second.
Well, the whole match completed without a high serve. Remember that from the opening game. .261. That's just over 162 miles per hour.
Yeah, managed 266 in the first game. So Indonesia 1, England 0. Simon Santoso putting the first point on the ball for